Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. As you know, Jon Velie is a regular contributor on The Price of Business. We're delighted to have him as a part of our program. He offers a very innovative way for individuals to pursue immigration in the most seamless, most efficient, cost-effective way. And I think it's a phenomenally smart way of taking care of companies and individual immigration needs. The Velie Law Firm is extremely, really a leader in this area. Jon, we're delighted to have you as a regular contributor on the show. Start off with your website and then a little more information about your firm and then introduce us to your guest.
Thanks, Kevin. I really appreciate it. Our website is onlinevisas.com, ONLINEVISAS.com. Online Visas was launched in the late 90s, and we became real innovators in lawyers on the Internet, one of the first to do it, and we won an American Bar Association award because we weren't just putting our name and email address up there. We really put up a lot of information and data that people could learn about what visas would work for them, and that's transcended into really representing some world-class clients, anywhere from MVPs of the World Series like Pablo Sandoval and his family, Wimbledon champions, doctor discovered the AIDS virus, Fortune 500 companies. We've helped all sorts of folks come from all over the world, probably every industrial country to every state in the U.S.
Fantastic. Your guest today?
Well, our guest today is a really exciting guy. This is Eric Green. He's with the firm Green and Sklar, and Eric is really one of the godfathers of civil and criminal tax adjudication. What he does is he helps get people out of these really big tax binds. There is a fascinating stat out there that there's over 12,400,000 tax accounts that are owed to IRS in collections from 2014 alone. That number has risen from 6 million just in 2005. And Eric is at the forefront of that. He speaks on how to do this practice. He has a very strong practice himself with 2 offices in Connecticut and 1 in New York City, and really excited to have Eric come on and talk about his passion and what he does in resolving these really complex markets. Issues.
Welcome to the program. Kind of start off with your elevator speech about your firm.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I mean, it's great to be here. So basically, we are a boutique tax firm. We do everything tax related. We do estate planning and business planning. But what the firm is really known for, regionally and nationally, is civil and criminal taxpayer representation. We speak on this, as Jon mentioned, all over the country. To national organizations. We do this day in and day out. And it's a very exciting place to be. And the thing I think that as far as an elevator speech, we spend a lot of our time teaching accountants and lawyers how to do this. A lot of our talking is actually teaching other professionals how to do this. We're the guys who teach the guys who do this. And many of our clients who find us from all over the country do it because of that. They'll call up and they'll say, all I know is you're the people teaching this stuff. I'd rather go to the master than the student. And so we have IRS cases right now in probably 17 states. And I'd like to think we're very good at what we do. And the critical thing, I think, the critical thing about this is that if you're a taxpayer, you're a business owner, and you owe money, before you start throwing lots of money at the problem, you really want to understand, one is the problem, but what is the solution? And one of the things that we pride ourselves on, before we start taking big money from people, is we do the consultation. And at the consultation, when our taxpayer leaves the consultation or hangs up the phone, they should be able to go home to their spouse and understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. If we're going to do an offer and compromise, why we think they're an offer candidate and how the IRS is going to calculate the offer amount. If we're going to do an installment agreement, what it will be and how we calculated that. Like everything else, an educated consumer is a better consumer. And we think that our clients, before who are going to spend a lot of money doing this, really need to understand why they're doing it. And I think if some other national companies had done that, they'd still be in business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Very good. John?
Well, that's really what hits home is, I think, and we do this, is finding ways to take away the mystique and the fear that our clients have. And that really hits home to me, Eric, that being able to tell the client so they can explain it to their spouse, and we know when we're looking at big tax debt that must be a very, very scary situation for people. So that's really great that you're able to do that on the first consultation. Can you give us some examples of big victories that you've had where you've helped somebody resolve one of these situations?
Well, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of them, but one in particular, we had a couple. I actually had the widow. The husband had unfortunately had committed suicide. Business was very bad. They had run up significant payroll debt. The IRS, when that happens, the IRS comes in and they go after everyone they can think of who might be responsible. It's called the trust fund recovery penalty. So they assessed the spouse for nearly almost $400,000, about $375,000 as a responsible person. The IRS rationale was that she had been given signature authority when the company was set up. Now, the reality is that she had never had anything to do with the company, had never signed a check. By the time they came into us, her accountant was, quote unquote, trying to handle it. It went final. She owes the money. We could have sought, done refund litigation and very expensive ways of challenging this. In sitting down, doing the consultation, running the numbers, she looked like she could do an offer for about $20,000. Now, $20,000, John, you have to understand, is a great deal. When you owe $375,000, that's a huge return on your money. If you have $20,000, if you don't have $20,000, then it might as well be the $375,000. I mean, you don't have what you don't have. By looking at it, she had this large Cadillac Escalade that was worth a lot of money, paid off. By doing some things the way the IRS would look at it, we had her trade in the Escalade, take a much smaller, like I think it was a Ford Fusion with a car payment. We adjusted her financial picture, brought the offer down. The offer was finally accepted by the IRS at $2,578.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's an incredible.
But what I want to point out, and John, you and I have talked about this, this comes from understanding the rules. If your practitioner understands the rules, like we said, if he can explain it to you, then that's where you get from 20 down to 2,500. It's because we know the rules. I know what the IRS is going to be doing. I know what the IRS collection people are going to do. We do the same thing. And if we do that, then you should come out enlightened, and really you have your best fighting chance. And frankly, if you're not an offer candidate, I know that disappoints people, but you just saved a lot of money.
Yeah.
Rather than throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. I mean, these are folks who come in who really are under financial duress in many aspects of their life. It also pours over into the rest of their life, causing terrible marital stress, family stress, and to be able to help people, give them a path out. I mean, when you watch people walk out and you've lightened their load, it really is. And John, you and I talked about this when you've done this with companies. It's gratifying when you can see that you've made an impact beyond the financial, just the impact on their life to get them out from under this, so they can move on is huge.
Yeah, and by the way, we got about a minute left, John. Why don't you wrap up with that thought, which is a very profound one, I think.
It sure was. Well, obviously, Eric Green's one of the masters of this situation. If anybody out there is having some tax issues, we couldn't recommend somebody stronger than Eric. Green and Sklar's is the name of the firm. He's in New Haven, Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, and New York City, but he does work all over the country. Eric, if you would give your website address and I think a way people can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. The website address is www.gs, as in Green and Sklar's, gs-lawfirm.com. and our phone number is 203-285-8545. If you're having a problem or you're an accountant who's got clients having problems, give us a shout.
Yeah, very good. And one more time, John, give your website as well.
We're the Velie Law Firm. We're at onlinevisas.com, onlinevisas.com. Global immigration, help people get visas to come in the United States, companies to bring people in the United States. We even do visas and corporate setup for those who want to go to other countries around the world.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. I do want to remind the listener that the best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter, and this is The Price of Business.